Dumb Husky and his white cat Shizun. Extra chapters. MENG's blind date. Mystery Matron, Part 1. Villa Master Ma of Dobeo Villa has recently developed a popular cultivation tool called the Sorrow Relieving Scroll. There were shining characters written in golden ink in its user guide that read, "With this tool, marriage is no longer a worry." MENG was practicing his swordsmanship on Shisheng Peak's Mountain of Daggers and Sea of Flames field when he first heard of this scroll. He wiped Long Cheng clean with a white cloth, then turned his head irritably towards the disciple of Dobeo Villa who tried to endorse the item to him and said, "What is this bullshit? Why did the Villa Master recommend this kind of junk to me?" Well, our Villa Master Ma said that sect leader Shui works very hard night and day. He must not have much leisure time to go out and meet any female cultivators. For the past couple of years, he had received a lot of advices from your Shizun, Grandmaster Chu, and our crafted product has gotten better and better because of it. He wants to send gifts to Shisheng Peak to show his appreciation. So, this sorrow relieving scroll was made for sect leader Shui. MENG was furious, and with a flash of sword glint from Long Cheng, the white cloth was sliced into two as he asked, "It was made for me? Does it look like I'm in need of a woman?" The Dobeo Villa's disciple looked very carefully at sect leader Shui, who was in the prime of his life and having such a dignified bearing. He sized him up, swallowed and cautiously said, "If it's man you need, we could also find you a man as long as it's fated." In need of man? MENG was so furious that his face has turned blue. He sheathed his sword and stood in the cool breeze of the practice field and called out, "Guard! Sect leader, here!" MENG's handsome brows stood upright as he snapped, "Escort our guest out." "Yes, sect leader." MENG wasn't wrong to throw this guest out. Villa Master Ma was a great businessman, and of course, he could just be trying to set couples up. It's true that Villa Master Ma developed this sorrow relieving scroll and that it can be used to match couples up, but to say that Villa Master Ma has developed this tool especially for MENG, that would be a huge lie. He was trying to pull MENG for a single and very simple reason: to attract patronage of female cultivators. After the incident with the Gate of Time and Space, Life and Death, the structure of the cultivation world had an overhaul, and Shisheng Peak had become one of the topmost sects. The rankings of the most eligible list had likewise been reshuffled, and MENG unsurprisingly rose high up in the list, becoming the most sought-after bachelor for many females. As a businessman involved in a wide range of fields, Villa Master Ma was bound to pay close attention to such popular rankings. So, one dark windy night, Villa Master Ma was happily picking his feet while eating watermelon. He read through the latest rankings and clicked his tongue. Hero ranking number 1, Chu Wanning. Current status, in seclusion. Hero ranking number 2, Mo Weiyu. Current status, unknown. Spitting out a stream of watermelon seeds, Villa Master Ma sobbed to his trusted underling, "AHH, if only these two were single, then we could drag them into this, too. Then, who knows how many female cultivators we could attract to go mad over the sorrow relieving scroll. Such a pity." After that, he showed the portrait of Chu Wanning that had been painted in the reading material to his underling and said, "Just take a look at this. I didn't realize before, but the more I look, the more I appreciate him. This Grandmaster Chu really projects an immortal spirit, and so handsome and elegant." The more he thought about it, the more dissatisfied he felt. Finally, he blurted out, "Why don't we discuss the matter with Grandmaster Mo? Let's flatter him a bit and ask him to get his Shizun to attract some female patrons on our behalf." "Sect leader," said his subordinate timidly, "asking Grandmaster Chu to attract female patrons for us, shouldn't we be scared of Grandmaster Mo's split personality?" The coward Villa Master rubbed his neck and felt a little cold. "You're right. Forget that." After pondering over a cup of gongfu tea, Villa Master Ma thought of a new target. "What about Mei Hank's you?" His subordinate once again said coyly, "Sect leader, We advertised our scroll for a lifelong match. If Cultivator May comes in, the lifelong romance would turn into a one-night stand. We shouldn't do that, we are decent and reputable businessmen. What are you saying? I'm talking about the older one. Aren't you afraid that the younger one would impersonate the older one? He's done that plenty of times before. You're right. He pondered things again over another cup of gongfu tea. Then how about Jiangxi? He's good looking. He can bring in lots of resources and he's quite shrewd. But he's a shady businessman, continued his subordinate. Sect leader, you are the decent kind. You better not do business with people like him. Be careful or you might lose everything. Besides, with his temper, when he found out that you wanted to use him as bait to attract female cultivators to buy our sorrow-relieving scrolls, I'm afraid that he might turn you into a human pig and throw you into Gai Yuye's pigsty so female pigs could spend their youthful days with you. Villa Master Ma laughed and stroked his subordinate's head as he said, "Little brother, I like your honesty and bluntness." After several back and forth with the discussion, Villa Master Ma finally said, "I suppose, we still have Xue Meng. Although he is not in the ranking for most wealthy and also not in the list of tall cultivators, he is at least pretty high on the most handsome ranking. Moreover, he is a new sect leader and he's about the age when he should be considering marriage. Let's give it a try. Send someone to talk to him." Thus, the Dobeo Villa's disciple had the audacity to say such nonsense as, "If it's men that sect leader need." Xue Meng, sect leader Xue was really infuriated. His lungs were about to explode. Did he look like he need men? It's more like men need him, Tui. No, saying that men need him sounds so wrong. He was so mad that he became confused. Since Xue Meng's succession as the sect leader, his temper has become somewhat restrained. It was now rare for people at Shisheng Peak to see him so angry. So when Elder Suanji saw him, he asked with great concern, "Sect leader, what's wrong? Is there something the matter?" Xue Meng gritted his teeth and said, "I just don't get it. There's so many in the cultivation world who doesn't have a cultivation partner, why did that person surnamed Ma focusing on me?" Elder Suanji was exceptionally smart and immediately understood that he didn't like it when people point out his sore spots, so he said in a rush, "You are a sect leader after all. You're someone of renown, so it's normal for people to put their attention on you. Don't take this kind of thing seriously." Xue Meng retorted angrily, "Then why don't they focus on Jiangxi? Sect leader Jiang is past his prime age. Actually, when he was younger, the people who focused their attention on him weren't few at all." As Xue Meng heard this, he became more depressed for some reasons. He thought of his mother and his heart ached. He also couldn't help but think of young Zhang Yuchen, aloof, untrusting, cold, and arrogant, and thought of how much grief he had caused his mother. But he didn't want anyone else to have an idea about the secret relationship that him and Jiangxi have, so he cursed a few times and changed the subject. "Then what didn't that person named Ma focus on Mei Hangxiu then?" Elder Suanji smiled with unspoken meaning as he said, "Sect leader, you know how cultivator Mei is. If he decided to settle down, he would cause blood to rain once again in the lower and upper cultivation world. Then. His continuous utterance of then died down as he couldn't think of another name he could push forward. Before, whenever Xue Zhengyang urged him to start a family already, he could use Chu Wanning or Mo Ran as shields. However, if he mentioned their names now, it would only make him feel more desolate and gloomy, as if he was all alone in the world. Xue Meng's breath sat on his chest like a big boulder and he could hardly move. He felt so angry that he began to have a headache. Finally, he simply said, "Is that so? Whether the sect leader marries or not is not the concern of others. It's none of their business. I'm leaving." Having learned from his Shizun how to get out of uncomfortable conversation, he haughtily brushed his sleeves and left. Xue Meng sincerely hoped that Villa Master Ma would go bankrupt because of his latest creation. However, Contrary to his wishes and despite of his lack of assistance, the sorrow-relieving scroll became popular throughout the lands within just a few months. MENG was quite indignant. What is this world coming through? Are people nowadays that idle? You can't say that. Elder Suanji was very fair. The previous 2 months were leading up to the new year. As you are aware, sect leader, during the festivities, the elders in the family will use every possible way to encourage their heirs to marry and start a family. Villa Master Ma's sorrow-relieving scroll resolved many of Jianghu's youth desperate situations. It's not a surprise that the product is sold out. I've also heard that the scroll was very intricately made, so even if one is not looking for a partner, one could simply buy it and keep it as a novelty item. Really? I'm not sure myself, Elder Suanji said gently. But Elder Tanlang was bored and bought one to amuse himself. He said he thought it was boring, but whenever I went by his room, 9 times out of 10, I found him fiddling with the scroll. MENG was amazed. I thought Elder Tanlang have no intention of remarrying. He has no intention of remarrying. Elder Suanji smiled faintly. He was just acting like a child and liked to play with new things, so he spends his leisure time with that scroll. Elder Tanlang was like a child? MENG was silent. Suanji and Tanlang became sect elders of Shisheng Peak at about the same time. Tanlang always speaks sarcastically, prickly with other people, and was completely incompatible with Chu Wanning. Suanji, on the other hand, was not only on friendly terms with Chu Wanning, but he could also coax Tanlang to laughter. Suanji is probably the only one who could describe a sneering Tanlang as like a child with such calmness and composure. Elder Suanji laughed and said, "Sect leader, if you are curious, why don't you buy one yourself and try it?" MENG cleared his throat and said arrogantly, "I'm a sect leader of a great sect. Why would I be curious about such a lousy thing? I won't try it." However, the next night, Shisheng Peak's loyalty hall was ablaze with light, but both doors of the hall were tightly closed. Sect leader Shui said that tonight he would seal off his cultivation and sent all the high-ranking disciples in charge of serving him to stand guard by the doors. With the only exception of if Elder Yuhang came and visited from Mount Nanping, he was not to be disturbed even if the sky was collapsing. All the disciples deeply admired the hard-working sect leader Shui. Moved by sect leader Shui's effort in leading them, they each expressed their dedication to protect him with all of their heart and promised that they would definitely not make any mistake. None of them knew that in that moment, sect leader Shui was sitting on the renovated sect leader seat at Loyalty Hall, looking at the jade scroll in his hand with utmost earnest. The impressively large characters on the scroll read, "Sorrow-relieving scroll." Yes, that's right. It's Villa Master Ma's best-selling product. It just arrived today. And in order to save the sect leader's face, the name of Elder Suanji was used to buy the scroll. The young sect leader Shui held the sorrow-relieving scroll and scanned it curiously. This tool was made from a particular type of jade that had been filled with abundant spiritual energy and can autonomously display faint golden characters. In terms of appearance alone, it was very well done. MENG began to follow the instructions on the case and silently read the spell to activate the tool, and started to use the cultivation tool that was currently so popular throughout the land. The extinguished light above accompanies the frost of dawn. The single sleeping person awakes with joy. Thinking of the night's passion, the end of the world is near. After the dismal and wretched line of poetry, a few new line appeared on the jade slip. Spring returned to the land, even swallows have paired up. Dear customer, are you still by yourself? MENG. Jade slip, please give Dobeo Villa your trust, but also give yourself a chance. Put aside the embarrassment of meeting with a matchmaker, close the distance between the upper and lower cultivation world. This sorrow-relieving scroll will make you no longer be envious of other courting couples and help you find you true love in the vast sea of people. MENG. Jade slip, dear customer, before using the scroll, please state your name. What? He had to state his name? Meng was an honest man, so he picked up the scroll and answered earnestly, "My surname is Shui, I'm called Meng." The jade slip did not respond. Meng hastily added, "My courtesy name is Ziming." The jade slip reacted this time and a line of golden words appeared on it. Villa Master Ma would like to gently remind you that when using the scroll, please employ a nickname such as Jaik Ma and Dongqiang Lu. This instrument is refined by Dobeo Villa of the West Lake. We will regretfully decline any names such as Gai Yu Yeso and so. We hope you understand. Meng read this with a wrinkle in his brows. He frowned and muttered, "Is that Jiangxi trying to steal the business from this person named Ma again? Anyways, any animosity between Gai Yuye and Dobeo Villa has nothing to do with him." Meng then noticed the orange cat that was left behind by his mother spread out on the rug, licking its paws. He suddenly thought of a nickname for himself and said to the jade slip, "My name is Veggie Bun." After that, he patted the head of the fat orange cat and said, "Sorry, I'm borrowing your name for a bit." The orange cat turned its face indifferently and continued to lick its fur. Meng vaguely felt that the cat's eyes were full of contempt and seemed to be telling him something. After careful consideration, he had a sudden realization. His mother's cat was called Veggie Bun, something that the whole Shisheng Peak knew. If he used this name, wouldn't it be easy for someone who knew him to figure it out? It really wasn't appropriate. Meng sighed and stroked the fat orange cat as he said, "You're very smart, Veggie Bun." Meow. So, sect leader Shui thought things through again. Finally, he gazed upon the potted plants that was planted by his mother in the hall before her death and at the scrolls of river that his father had hanged on the wall. Finally, he came up with a nickname that lacks any originality at all. "My name is Wang Xiaoshui." This bad naming sense of anyone in Shisheng Peak was a legacy left behind by the former sect leader Shui Zhenyang, who had come up with the nickname Shui Ya for Shimei and Mount Oa to name one of their mountain peaks. It was then passed on to Mo Ran, who named his holy weapon Jiangui, and then to the present Meng, who gave himself the nickname Wang Xiaoshui. No one has the right to laugh at anyone else. Originally, the nickname Wang Xiaoshui was unpleasant enough, but then the jade slip had wonderfully misunderstood. After receiving Meng's nickname, a few new lines of gold characters appeared. "All right, Miss Wang Xiaoshui. Meng. Meng, it's not a woman's name. I said my name is Wang Xiaoshui from my mother's surname Wang and Shui from my father's Shui Zhenyang." The jade slip continued to display some golden characters. "The rename spell is being adjusted. Great apologies to Miss Wang Xiaoshui, but the changing name spell is currently unavailable." Meng was getting annoyed. "You've clearly misheard, why can't you change it?" Jade slip, "Dear customer, please don't be angry. If you really need to change your name, I can pass on a message to Villa Master Ma and ask him to change it for you." There's no way he would want to contact Villa Master Ma. After all, he could just imagine how Villa Master Ma would snigger and would come over to tease him with something like, "Is sect leader Shui no longer off limits, or has sect leader Shui accepted reality, or does sect leader Shui want men or women today?" It would be a nightmare. Meng had to say, "It's fine. No need to change the name. You really are lousy, it's like you have hearing defects." The jade slip ignored the comment and said mildly in the same tone as before, "Good. Miss Wang Xiaoshui, in order to have a better understanding of your character, please cooperate with the sorrow relieving scroll's instructions and answer the following questions. After this, the scroll will present you the talented, intelligent, and beautiful person who is best suitable for you. We wish you luck and success on a quick connection and a successful match." Meng isn't very keen on finding a suitable match, but he is rather curious about who amongst the people in the greater cultivation world would the sorrow relieving scroll find to match with him. Therefore, he said quickly, "Go on and ask your question." First question, "Have your heart been broken before?" Meng touched his chin and answered, "No." Second question, "Have you ever been in love with someone?" "No." Third question, have you ever secretly admired someone? No. Fourth question, have you ever been confessed to? No. The jade slip stopped asking question and seemed to hesitate for a moment. Then, a new string of words appeared. Dear customer, please don't use repeated incantations to confuse this scroll. Who's repeating incantations? Shwemeng became upset immediately. If I said no, I meant no. Do you want me to give false answers? The jade slip quickly said, apologies, my bad. Fifth question, how old are you this year? Shwemeng was reluctant to give his age and muttered, 20-something. Right. 20-something-year-old Ms. Wang Xiaoxue, in the past 20 years of your life you have never been in a romantic relationship, never secretly admired someone, never been confessed to and never been hurt by love. Correct. Jade slip, right. Ms. Wang Xiaoxue, before I ask the sixth question I need to know, do you prefer a straightforward person or do you prefer someone who beats around the bush? Shwemeng raised his eyebrows and said, what the, of course I like straightforward people. Who like anyone who beats around the bush? Right. The jade slip then asked very frankly, the sixth question, are you ugly? Shwemeng. After a long silence, the high-ranking disciples outside the loyalty hall heard the shit of the sect leader smashing things angrily and the horrified meows of the fat orange cat. It has to be said that Dobeo Villa's crafting technique have greatly progressed over the years. The sorrow-relieving scroll remained undamaged despite how much Shwemeng tried to smash it. In fact, it continuously displayed glittering golden characters which tried to persuade sect leader Shwe to answer the remaining questions. Finally, the scroll manifested 20 mystical playing cards which floated one by one towards Shwemeng's hand. Well, they were not really playing cards, they just looked like it. In them were illusory and vague depictions of 20 cultivators. Miss Wang Xiaoxue, who is not ugly but has been single for more than 2 decades, congratulations. According to my divination, your soulmate is hidden in these 20 cards, waiting for you to discover them. Shwemeng does not believe in this nefarious business. After all, during the incident with the lust cord, he only ever saw his own face, so he didn't believe that he did have a soulmate. However, he couldn't help but be curious, so he still checked out the 20 cards. Sect leader Shwe gave himself the nickname Miss Wang Xiaoxue, and naturally the cultivators on the cards wouldn't boldly use their real name. The first card that Shwemeng saw was for a cultivator nicknamed Ro Ying. The sorrow-relieving scroll described them as follows. Miss Ro Ying dresses in misty silks, shines like a pearl, has a quiet scent and has a calm and composed nature. This person is of sublime social position and was from a wealthy family. A person who is good in handling accounts, an expert in housekeeping and advocates clean and simple living. Although there are many people who admired and flatter them, Miss Ro Ying's heart is aloof and not affected by all sort of flirtations. This person is like a high mountain flower that everyone desires but cannot pluck. Hobbies: cultivating flowers and plants, caring for the sick. Setting aside the rest of the cards, Shwemeng was shocked upon reading this. This person seemed to be a cold beauty capable of causing downfall of cities, but also someone who remained unaffected by the surrounding filth, self-sufficient, doesn't need a man to depend on, good at housekeeping, kind-hearted, and most importantly, shared the same hobby as his late mother, Madame Wang. How rare is this? As a good son well versed in the 24 standards of filial piety and who worship his mother like a goddess, Shwemeng believed from an early age that if a girl had a temperament like Madame Wang, any family she married into would be lucky. Just see how well his mother took care of her husband and son. Shwemeng's heart couldn't help but beat a bit quicker at this. However, he still has a couple of doubts. First off, if such a person existed in the cultivation world, how come he had never heard of them? Second, his intuition was giving him alarm signals. He looked at the card that was filled with golden text and read them again. Ah, how strange. The more he read it, the more he felt like he met someone very similar somewhere. Who is it? End chapter. Dumb Husky and his white cat Shizun. Extra chapters. MENG's blind date. Mystery Matron, Part 2. Originally, MENG just wanted to casually learn about this sorrow-relieving scroll that was very popular in the cultivation world. He didn't really plan to use it, nor did he plan to follow the recommendation of the scroll and meet with the cultivators on the cards. There were probably many people who had thought the same way as he did. Villa Master Ma felt that this was not acceptable. It was a magic tool, so it had to be used properly. If it was just bought for fun and not used, it would soon be thrown to a corner to collect dust. Therefore, a few days later, the Jade Scroll made a shocking announcement. 3 months from today, those who were actively using the sorrow-relieving scroll to look for a match will be included in the VIP list of Dobeo Villa. After 3 months, regardless of whether they find a good match or not, Villa Master Ma will choose one amongst the VIP list and present them with an incomparable treasure box from Dobeo Villa. We are looking forward to everyone's participation. The day the Jade Slip made the announcement, both the upper and lower cultivation world exploded. Almost everyone was talking about this matter. Dobeo Villa's incomparable treasure box, have anyone knew what it contained? Passerby was a money-grubbing cheapskate and said, I saw it. 180 high-grade talisman papers, 1,000 pieces of high-grade spiritual stones, 100 Dobeo Villa vouchers, 10 top-grade smelting pattern of Dobeo Villa. It's great. They are truly an exemplary model of righteous businessmen, the greatest merchant in the cultivation world. Passerby was neither a cheapskate nor did he have pure thoughts. You're all a bunch of commoners, take a look at me. I have no interest in such spiritual stones, talisman papers, or diagrams. However, I did hear that in the box, there were 500 pieces of original and rare erotic arts and stories. I heard that these were never published before, so if I get my hands on them, I'll be set for the rest of my life. The crowd all glared at him, what a pervert. But one has to admit that Villa Master Ma's treasure box accurately pinpoint the weaknesses of all the cultivators in the world. Wealth, sex, or knowledge, for cultivators these were all indeed great temptations. Moreover, Villa Master Ma declared that it wasn't necessary for one to successfully find a partner. As long as they were using the sorrow-relieving scroll, even if they remained single until the 3-month period, they could also participate in the lottery just like anyone else. Since then, and due to how easy the requirements for participation was, countless cultivators who bought the sorrow-relieving scroll purely out of curiosity, started to seriously use the scroll all for the sake of this treasure box. The most pitiful of this bunch is the sect leader of Shi Shengpeak, the arrogant MENG courtesy named Ziming. MENG rummaged through the cards again. He had already read through what the Jade Scroll said about these recommended cultivators once. Though all of them were decent enough, the first one Ro Ying made the strongest first impression on him, so he thought that she should be the best choice. To actively use the sorrow-relieving scroll meant one has to meet with the recommended persons by the scroll. However, certain conditions were put in place for these meetings. Villa Master Ma meant for people to meet their soulmates thought these sorrow-relieving scrolls, and therefore thought that physical appearance should not be a factor when matching couples up. So, how to prevent people from judging each other by their looks? Dobeo Villa has come up with a solution. When the two people meet, they would need to wear a special Dobeo Villa sachet which will make the wearer's voice and appearance change in the other person's perspective. Therefore, when they meet, they both knew that the other's appearance was false and therefore, will concentrate more on knowing the other person's inner qualities. The illusion will not disperse until the person remove the special sachet on their person. Only then will their true appearance be visible to the other party. It has to be said that Villa Master Ma has really taken a lot of trouble to earn money. In order to find the soulmates for the single people in the cultivation world, just how much did he rack his brain to come up with all of this? MENG made an appointment to meet with Ro Ying. His motivation weren't pure though, as he wasn't actually hoping to find a lifelong companion. He was doing all these for the sake of that treasure box. However, sect leader Shui was a sect leader. When he was young, he had no trouble trading insults even with girls out in the streets, but since becoming a sect leader, he had to show elegance and appropriate bearing. As Elder Suanji often reminded him, sect leader, your words and deportment will not only represent yourself but would reflect on Shi Sheng Peak as a whole. So, in order not to bring shame to Shi Sheng Peak, Xuemeng diligently prepared for this date. The truth was, this was the first time in his life that Xuemeng would go on a date with a female cultivator by himself. He would be lying if he said he wasn't nervous. Sect leader Shui may appear very indifferent and calm, but deep inside, he have some doubts. The night before his date, while he laid in bed, he took out Ro Ying's card, flipping it over and over for countless times, thinking over the phrase sublime social position, and was from a wealthy family. Ro Ying was a rich woman. But that didn't matter, Xuemeng silently encouraged himself. He might not be included in the most rich ranking list, but he still owned several mountain peaks, so how could a nobody rich girl be wealthier than him? How could her social position be any higher than him? So, how should he go about this? Wait, yes, that's it. When they meet tomorrow, he would take her to the most luxurious place, eat the most sumptuous meal, and impress her to let her know who's the biggest catch in the lower cultivation world. Sect leader Shui allow himself to imagine how he would show his date how rich he was. Miss Ro Ying would probably look at him with admiration as she said to him with awe, Wang Xiaoxiugag, you are indeed very rich. The thought made him smile and content as he hugged his Long Cheng. He then fell asleep on his big bed. The next day, Xuemeng got up early. As agreed, he wore his Dobeo Villa sachet and went to Yangzhou City to meet with this female cultivator. Before leaving Shi Sheng Peak, he sought out Elder Suanji to inquire which was the best tea house in Yangzhou City and ask in passing how luxurious it was. The cost, he was told, stung him, but he felt that he could bear in order not to bring shame upon Shi Sheng Peak. He couldn't make a fool of himself in front of this rich lady. When he used the sorrow-relieving scroll to transmit the name of the meeting place Ziwa Pavilion to his date, Xuemeng has a very smug expression on his face. The most luxurious tea house in Yangzhou City. How would she react to that? Xuemeng could almost imagine her waking up in her chambers, and upon reading the meeting place that would appear on her sorrow-relieving scroll, her red lips would part in surprise as she murmured to herself, "Ah, he truly is a noble and generous young master." While his imagination was running wild, his own sorrow-relieving scroll lit up. Ro Ying, all right. All right? That's it? Xuemeng was so angry that he almost fell off Long Cheng. It's fine if she didn't want to express any joy or surprise, but why didn't she at least say thank you? From which family did this girl come from? This is improper. Seething with rage, he stood still on his sword as he flew over the Yangtze River. His sorrow-relieving scroll lit up again. Miss Ro Ying sent him a message that said Ziwa Pavilion might be very busy today. If you don't mind, can we go somewhere else? I'll pay. All right, this girl might not be very polite, and since this is their first date, she probably wanted to take the lead. That all right reply was probably because she was not good at expressing herself, just like his Shizun. Thinking of Chu Wanning, Xuemeng straightened himself and thought, that's right, a gentleman should be generous. Beside the other party was a lady, so even if she wasn't very polite, he should have more patience. So, Xuemeng replied through the scroll, since I sent the invitation, there's no need to change anything. After some time, she replied with one word again, fine. Xuemeng. The first time annoyed him, but this time, he maintained his calm and wasn't as angry as before. He sat on Long Cheng, swaying his legs, breaking through the clouds, and flew all the way from the misty mountains following the trail south of the Yangtze River. Soon, he was near Yangzhou City. He arrived early from the appointed time, and thus, he strolled along the bustling and noisy street leisurely. Yangzhou city was under the jurisdiction of Gaiyuye sect. The people flowed though like water and the flowers were like brocade. All in all, it was a picture of happiness and prosperity, what with some old men offering foot massages at the side of the road and the flower-selling aunties were offering their wares in an accent very much like his mother's. Hearing them made Shuemeng felt quite pleasant and relax. He bought sweets from a candy stall and ate as he walked. When it was almost time, he went straight to Zawa Pavilion on the edge of the lake. Seeing at a glance, it indeed seemed to be full with people. Almost every guest was wearing dobeo sachet. It looked like quite a number of cultivators were actively participating on Villa Master Ma's grand event, and it seemed that everyone wanted to show off way beyond their means by crowding into the most luxurious place in the city. Shuemeng was quite speechless as he looked around the lively lobby. When an attendant approached him, he said, "I have a reservation for a second-floor room. My surname is Xue, ahem. Wang. Reservation under the name Wang." After he paused, he added bashfully, "Wang Xiao Xue." The attendant by this time was already used to this flock of matchmaking cultivators. He didn't even blink upon hearing such a silly name. Wang Xiao Xue didn't compare to such names as Zhao Dagan, Du Jian, etc. He probably heard them all. Therefore, he just calmly and indifferently led Shuemeng to the second floor. "This is the wind room. As you have requested, it got a window view." Shuemeng had a look and it was indeed nice. Southern people were really elegant. This was supposed to be a private room, however it was simple, covered by a thin bamboo curtain. The bamboo curtain was of fine quality, of exquisite workmanship. Beyond it, an impression of potted plants could be seen on the other side. It was definitely elegant, however it was misleading. If you raise your voice for even a bit, everyone around you could hear it. But he was already here, so what else can he do? Shuemeng sat down, and at the same time, Miss Roying had sent another message through the sorrow-relieving scroll: "I have just sent a business client off, so I am just on my way. I will be coming a bit late." Shuemeng stared at the message for multiple times and thought he had met a master. This is too much. This woman was showing off how wealthy she was even before she appeared. However, instead of showing off her riches through jewelries and other precious items, she's showing off by saying that she's seeing important business client early in the morning, giving off the impression that her time is precious and cost money. What a hard-working businesswoman. What a stark contrast to himself, who spent his morning idling around and eating tanghulu. Shuemeng bitterly drank a cup of brewed tea that the waiter poured for him. What a fierce woman, Shuemeng thought. I'll let her have this round. When she arrived, he must show her his strength and let her know that with him, Shueziming, the sky was the limit. End chapter.